All right, so this one is for you, Gemini. Okay, that's you here, Gemini. This is Tarot Lumination, and this is your singles mini love and relationship report for this, halfway through November, half of December type season. And we're just going to go for it, okay? I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. Stop, start, pause, however you want to do it, so that you can integrate some of these questions here into the reading so that you can kind of participate in the reading yourself. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, not even any reversals. Sorry about that. I just want to keep it short and sweet and direct and simple, okay? So we're almost done. I just want to shuffle to the very last second so we are clear. All right, we're reading on the understanding that you have some appreciation for the laws of attraction, how all that stuff works, and how you're always radiating energy, whether you like it or know it or not, including the energy of relationship. And it's magnetic. You attract and repel accordingly. So there would be you, your energy. There would be a potential energy of another, like what if? Okay, because remember, we're talking about singles. Tarot Illumination is not a fortune teller. We're just talking about potential energy. And this would be the nature of the relationship itself, should a relationship start to germinate or come into being. Okay, and this is like the energy or the momentum or the prospects of where it might go should something happen. So let's have a look. This is circumstantial energy under here. We're going to look at this in a moment. Think of it as the weather. You're just going to make the best of it, okay? Like everybody, if it's crappy weather, you're going to make the best of it. If it's awesome weather, you're going to make the best of it. If it's bad or good, you're going to make sure you do the best to feel good from the inside out anyway, okay? Now we have the Three of Swords here. So Gemini, it might be that circumstantial evidence around you is indicating like, oh gosh, I'm in a minefield. Like, is it me who's brokenhearted? Is it everyone else who's brokenhearted? What's going on with this whole world? Everyone seems to be messed up and full of heartache and sorrow and woe and misery. Or it might be very, very particular, okay? It's just energy. We're just talking circumstantial energy with the Three of Swords here. It's a big glaring indication that it's the card that nobody wants to see in a love and relationship reading. But please do not be intimidated or scared by this. Sometimes it's really, really important to know this and be aware that this is going on at all. Otherwise, you end up fooling yourself or tricking yourself or ending up at the mercy of this energy. And that's not what we want, okay? So, let's have a look. What are you radiating? Okay, well, obviously, from my perspective, it feels like you might be aware of this. You might be aware that there are people around you who are suffering, okay? People who are, just hurting from every single angle, every which way imaginable. And somehow or other, you with the Six of Wands here are managing to get through it all pretty unscathed. Like, oh my gosh, I managed to get out of that one. Phew! Or like, whew, I'm glad I didn't get stuck in all their muck. And my gosh, I know I can be a bit of a handful sometime, and I'm glad I didn't take it too far with them because they're like too smart and clever, and they would have figured out that I was kind of like partially messed up myself. We don't need that. I just want to be happy and feel good right now. I want to just get through this season right now. Like Gemini, you might be just totally focused on being happy and successful inside of yourself right now, which is perfectly legitimate way to be. It's a very honorable way to be. And if you're conducting yourself, there's no arrogance here. There's no over the top energy here of look at me, I'm so effing awesome. It's more about you just, Gemini, honoring yourself, maintaining your dignity, maintaining your self-respect, other people recognizing that and behaving accordingly, acknowledging that, respecting you, appreciating you for that, because a lot of people don't have this, especially, if there's a lot of broken-hearted energy surrounding you right now, you might be the best thing in everyone else's world. If you can conduct yourself with such, let's say, dignity, self-assurance, mastery, and just just what I would just call everyday simple self-confidence. It's one of those energies that other people find very, very attractive. Like boy girl stuff. A lot of women find that men who are just naturally self-confident without having to show the world, that can be very appealing. That's an indication that someone's got their acts together. If you're one of those people, Gemini, who's got your acts together and you're doing fine, even though the rest of the world might be falling apart around you, that can make you very attractive to others. Okay, let's have a look. Let's just have a look, see what's going on out there. Okay, so in the meantime, let's say this is very self-contained energy. You're just minding your own business, doing the best you can to get through this little time period of what could be considered a minefield, whether it's someone or other people around you who are having really hard times in themselves, and you're managing to maintain your integrity. That's good. That's the best thing you could possibly do. Love yourself first, so that you don't have to get, drowned in other people's misery and pain and suffering. You don't want to do that if you can possibly help it. So you might be attracting people who are maybe damaged, messed up, circumstantially, maybe not your problem at all, but other people who would be, let's say, minding their own business because maybe they're so messed up in their own ways that they've decided to just chill out and take a break, where the whole potential or ability to even have a relationship is not even viable right now, where it's much more about healing. In other words, there might be someone like in your, horizon, in your environment, that might be very messed up and who might, have the desire or ability to relate to you. Well, not ability, they might have the desire and they might be deserving and it might be potentially good in some way or other. But the reality is they need a lot of healing and rest and a break right now. With the Four of Swords here, there is a tiny little image of a couple up in the top here, which from my perspective is an indication that whatever needs to be healed here needs to be healed from deep within. That, in other words, this is their own business. Whatever is going on out there with all these other people or with a particular single other who might be there, on the horizon, that's their business. That's their problem. That's their pain and suffering that needs healing. And ultimately, all healing is self-healing. And they might have already figured out that they have to take care of that themselves. They have to go into a state of self-awareness, perhaps detaching themselves from, the more active, like, vivacious ways of relating that people do. A lot of people like to relate in groups and parties and circumstances where everything is wonderful all the time. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's just best to say, enough is enough. I just want to go home, hide under the covers, not, switch the phone off, switch the computer off, just completely shut down for a while, watch some movies and just curl up in a ball and do nothing, and then go to sleep and take extra naps during the day while this person figures out what the heck is going on with them about all their own heartache and pain and suffering, so that they don't have to like dump that all over the rest of the world. It's their business and they're figuring it out. Okay, that's how I feel this for you, Gemini. So in other words, you don't have to be affected by their problems or all these other people's problems. Okay, so let's say you do attract someone like that who is in a state of personal self-healing, but the relationship dynamic is starting to happen anyway. There's nothing wrong with that. It could be, a very mutually beneficial thing. It might be one of those learning relationships or one of those transient relationships where you are just being your awesome self, and you might attract someone who is basically needs some downtime for themselves. Like the most you could expect to happen is like if you might just get one text from somebody who's curious about you and they're saying, hi, yeah, I met you the other night, so on, so on. I'm a bit out of it right now. I'm sorry I can't relate. Maybe we can hang out at another time. If you do want to drop by, please bring cookies and some hot cocoa and some herbal tea. And I wouldn't mind a massage while you're at it. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm kind of exaggerating here, but I'm trying to give you a theme for how this relationship dynamic might feel should this occur. Okay, So what would that be? In other words, if someone like this does arrive and actually turns into a relationship dynamic, what are we looking at here? Well, my feeling is with the Strength card, this is your reading, okay, for you, Gemini. I feel like it puts you in a position where you might have to, let's say, extend yourself. Okay, kind of go above and beyond what you might ordinarily want to do or have to do, or what you've already used to doing in relationship dynamics, where you might have to really, really, you know, take really good thought about, like, this other person. Like, who is this? Who are you really? What is going on with you? I can see that you're in deep pain and deep suffering, and you found me and you met me, and that's great. Like, I'm trying to talk to both people right now. You found me, you met me, and that's great. And I'm sorry for your pain and suffering, and I'm glad to see you're looking after yourself and taking a break and chilling and everything. Um, it's not exactly what I was looking for in a love relationship, but since this is what's going on, what's going on? So what would be going on is this, Gemini. It's where you, in the egoic self of just you being your regular awesome self, is now put in a position where you have to perceive the relationship dynamic as something of above and beyond whatever is just comfortable or fun or easy and convenient. It's more about seeing the deeper spiritual aspect of a relationship, where you would have to raise your frequency, raise your love vibration energy frequencies to the point where you can attune to their situation, where you don't take it personally, where you understand that you might be attracting someone who's actually very broken, messed up inside, and needs a lot of like rest and TLC and self-healing, and you just happen to be the one that they are attracted to. But it puts you in the position of having to look at the relationship from a more spiritual aspect, from like, how can I be there for you? If you're resting, if you need to, tell some stories or get this stuff out of your system, let me know if I can be of assistance. You might not normally want to do that in a relationship. You might be just more interested in, like, having a lovey-dovey relationship, having everything nice and loving and romantic. But in this dynamic here, it's very much to do with healing, okay? And that puts you on the spot a little bit, okay, Gemini? That's all I'm feeling here, is that it's a bit of a challenge because it takes you to, use your awesome, amazing self, but it's a little inconvenient. That's what I'm feeling. It's like, oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's just do this. It's like you're saying, yes, you're a lovely person, and I'm glad you kind of showed up in my life. I got to say that you're not what I was expecting, but let's just deal with this, because there's something I like about you, and there's something I like about you too. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening. The magnetic draw of one to another would not be happening. So where does that take us? Okay, see, it's medicine. It's healing. It's medicine. That's all it is. It's a simple, loving, healing type of relationship dynamic that might be happening here, where it's just somebody needs you, Gemini. Someone needs whatever kind of healing power of love that you have inside of you, and they might just be attracted to you because you have that. And by simply you being you, and allowing yourself to, like, raise your frequencies, raise your vibration, understand that sometimes you need to extend yourself above and beyond what is just personal interest, and understand the bigger spiritual meaning of relationship, look what happens. Something blossoms that can be truly beautiful. Okay? I don't even feel like I have to say anything more. With the Sun card here, it's just joyful. It's very satisfying. So it might be like a quirky, odd situation where who would have ever guessed that someone like you would have ended up meeting someone like this, where you, Gemini, have to rise up like this, but it turns out to be this. Wow. Who knew? So there. All right, Gemini, make the best of it. Reinterpret, pause, stop, however you want to do this. And do all your cross-watching, sun, moon, and rising. Thank you so much for visiting, and all the best. See you soon. Bye.